It's a breathalyzer, right, in it?
Passed that just last week.
Hi, Scott. Hi, Scott. Can't hear you. You're muted.
Steve, can you hear us?
I can hear you now. Hi, Susie.
They can't see me. That computer must be different.
Yeah, we have that meeting.
There's that window.
Keep us on. Some being time out already. Well, that's for me. Point the wrong way.
Policy at the school that the kids hate.
Works well for you.
I don't know what's.
Tammy? Or someone, Mr. Mayor, do I have the right agenda that has Steve Stang as mayor and Lynn Morris still on council and,
That was the draft. You should have another one.
okay.
Been a while for that.
So
Real deep cut, right?
did we get a different one then?
Yeah, there should be another one. Steve. Should be on the email we can Zoom like.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
She didn't think so. It was in
I think the meetings were late.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, we're in late time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Susie, all ready for
I
us?
can go look at it.
All right, we will go ahead and call to order the Wednesday, March 6th, 2024, City of Solon regular council meeting. Yeah, we'll start with the pledge.
Flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Civility pledge, we pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, and acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community. That will take roll call. Duncan,
Here,
Marley, here, Gabriel,
Here.
Kramer, here, Whitehead.
Here.
Next, perfecting and improving the agenda, any changes that anybody use, whatever?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Duncan,
yes,
Marley.
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Whitehead.
Yes.
Next is citizen speak. It's a time for citizens to address anything that is not on the agenda. Is there anything? Nice. All right, fun. And with comments, just as a reminder, please keep it to 3 minutes and then we'll be addressing just the council and staff.
Yes, I'll be quick. I have 3 questions. I could call the city, but I prefer that they be entered into the public record because I think they're relevant to some of our coming expenditures. Number 1, who is the council aware? Who is paying for the turning lane that's going to be put just south of Solon at the Dillon's Furrow and 120th Street? The county, as I understand it, and this was in minutes, some months ago, as a found 3 million. And my question is, there's a development going back there. Are we involved in that in any way? And as you know, there was a terrible accident there a year ago, last Christmas. Former council member is still possibly looking at amputation. It's a bad area right there. But I wondered what the council was aware of, if we were involved in any way. And if the developer was responsible for any of that 3 million. My second question, and our engineer has said that some meetings ago, and I didn't hear it. It's important enough that I would ask that he say it again in the record of the minute. The loan for our sewer treatment plant, as I understand it, is 27.5 million, and our 3 million that we're going to have the bond issue or the hearing on is to borrow for a part of that. My question is, where is that 27.5 million coming from? It's a state revolving fund, but where is the fund? I'm assuming it's coming from the federal government. I don't know, but I think it's important that we understand the deep pocket here. What is our low interest rate? And as I recall, probably incorrectly, that he said that it was a forgivable loan. It's a lot of money. And it does involve future development, not just fixing our current status. So I think it's important that that's part of the public record. And finally, I asked as to the status of our current groundwater storage tank. And it was my understanding, I remember our engineer did a review of our systems in 2017, probably with Gallery Acres West. And I didn't pull it out tonight, but I remember clearly he had recommended in 2017 that we get a groundwater storage tank and checked it off before 2020, and it was checked off because we've done it. It was a believer forgivable loan from the state. I believe it was over $1 million. And I don't know what our obligation was if we didn't have anything or just some interest. But the reason it's important is because I believe it was Mayor Sang that said just a few years ago that water was being used for Watts for fire protection or back and forth. And at that point, it wasn't a problem. There weren't that many homes out there that it was, we had a conflict with the backup for our storage, our tower here. But my question is, are we going to have to replace that if it was backup for the water tower? Remember, that was $1 million, and I don't think, although I did talk to the DNR head, we had a disagreement about it. He didn't feel that there was a problem because you have to use that, there's qualifications for using it to get those, some of the interest reductions and so forth. But the concern is, in that same report, our engineer said that we needed the one in 2017, check, but we needed another one, not too far down the road. So my question is, what is the status of this storage tank out here? Who is it supplying backup water for? If it's a dual purpose, how long will that go on? Do we need to replace it? And do we need another one? Because we're looking at borrowing more money. And these are things that I think we need to understand and have all in our plan before we proceed going more in depth. Thank you very much. And I was hoping our engineer would be here. I'm sure he could answer me quickly. But as it is, if anyone can, I just want these things in the record.
Yep, and I can address some of these. I'll probably get some help from the turning lane south of town that the city has nothing to do with. The
Excellent.
turning lane. That is between the county and the developer on whatever they're going to do, but it is outside of city limits that develop, even though it's within the 2 mile fringe, there's nothing.
That's what I wanted. Thank you. Thank you for that.
From the sewer loan, I know that between the 3 million and the 27 million, I think those are estimates or conservative estimates right now. Until the design is finished, and there are bids, we won't know exactly what the cost is at.
Okay.
As far as where the funds come from between Cammie and Dave, I would say they would be the best to speak on that. I do know that Cammie has had meetings with our financial advisors as far as where we get kind of the best bang for our buck from an interest rate standpoint. And last one was the groundwater storage. I believe we had done studies prior to annexing Trail Ridge to see what do we have for room to grow. At that point, I didn't think the groundwater storage or the water was an issue with that. Scott, I don't know if you can speak to that any better than I can.
Yeah, so the ground storage tank was actually built twice the size of what the capacity is that we needed. We can do that because it was a ground storage tank. We'd have trouble doing that if it was an elevated tower. That was one of the primary reasons why we built a ground storage. Even the elevated tower is for fire protection for the whole community. So whether or not it's elevated or at the ground with booster pumps, everything is tied in together for the entire community. That was not put in for fire protection for Trail Ridge.
No.
That was not put in because of Trail Ridge.
It was
Trail
before
Ridge
that.
was not even known about at
Exactly,
that time.
yeah.
This was because of the community's normal growth that we see every year. SRF funding, none of that is forgivable that we pay. All of that is being paid for through revenue.
Okay.
So the city will take out revenue bonds and that'll pay for the,
Scott, the current one is paid for, is that correct?
The 3 million is a zero interest loan that'll get.
yeah, I'm sorry, we're not taking out revenue bonds.
No.
We're taking out a loan.
But no, I'm just saying that'll be wrapped into the loan agreement with SRF, which is through the Iowa Finance Authority later. And the interest rates will be in the 2s.
And as far as talking to with that $3 million, tonight, we're just setting a date for the public hearing.
Correct.
We'll make
correct.
sure that we have all the right folks there, so I don't think we need to get too far into the weeds
Right.
tonight, because we will make sure we have all the right
That
people.
wasn't my intention to take up any time. I appreciate it, and it's important that the public understands it, because it is a lot of money. And the groundwater storage tank west of town, that was 2017. And the reason I asked the question is I'll have to dig out the engineer's report at that time. It was dated 2017.
So
and there was-
we will get to all this.
Okay.
We will have a
Thank you
public
for the
hearing, but
time.
yes.
I appreciate it.
Are there anything else that folks would like to talk about that for citizens speak that is not on the agenda? Next, we'll move down to, consent agenda. So approval of the minutes from the February 21st, regular council meeting, approval of the list of bills, treasurer's reports of transfers, building permit, which we do have one, the beer and liquor license for RJ's Express, and the event, at the Grand Gable on May 4th, 2024.
Do we have any concerns on that here?
I have not had any violations from that.
All right, and it did look like from the Grand Gable that it would, this is just a heads up that they'd be having a ton of bikers coming through with no street closures, nothing to the city other than we'll have biker traffic. All right, Duncan,
Yes.
Farley,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Kramer,
Yes.
Whitehead.
Yes.
All right, moves down to the fire department report. We do have agency meeting coming up on the 21st. We'll be taking a look at doing the budget settings there, but know that you guys continue to be pretty busy. So that's all I have for an update. Sheriff's office. Scott. Reports.
Well number 4 is back in operation. One thing that did not get repaired from the lightning strike, the initial reason that well went out of line, is a secondary line conditioner. It just monitors the electrical coming in on the different legs, lines. So there's 3 different lines coming in. It's just monitoring and conditioning the electrical voltage to get it balanced. We have one in place, and then there's a secondary one. The secondary one, the cabinet that it was supposed to go in was not sized correctly, so we're waiting on that, but we still have a line conditioner. We're gonna do some controlled burns tomorrow, for all of our prairies and wetlands. The guys have also spent this week taking down the remainder ash trees that we had. These were all 8 to 14-inch caliber ash trees, down at the SRNA. And there was just over 30 ash trees that were taken down just at the SRNA. And throughout this past year, those trees were all donated by a Jeff Miller, who used to live just outside of town. And at that time, he donated all those trees, and the city and the school had to pay for the relocation of those trees off of his property onto our properties. At that time, it was a great thing. Nobody knew about the emerald ash borer. Unfortunately, the majority of the trees out there at the SRNA were ash trees. So it looks pretty bare out there. I put a slight plea out to the public. If anybody wants to donate trees, we'd gladly accept, but we really want something that's gonna be a substantial caliber, not just a sapling, because of all the traffic that's down. And what else, Chris? Other than that, we've just been keeping busy. The weather.
Liz? What?
Yes, so March is also busy at the library. We've got March Mammal Madness going on right now. Very similar to the March Madness, but instead you're trying to figure out what types of animals are going to win and ultimately be the incredible winner of the whole bracket. If you're interested, City Council, you all got brackets in your packet, but they're also available at the library. You can fill them out. They just have to be turned in by 5 p.m. on Saturday to be part of the judging. And the best one who gets the most right wins a humongous stuffed lamb. So that is the motivation for that. Also part of spring break, we've got our Fun for All night on Saturday, gym games at 6 at the community center, and we'll be watching Ratatouille at 7 with popcorn from Tyson's of Coralville. We have a hot cocoa and conversation program for teens on Tuesday, the 12th at 3:30, and then a makerspace drop-in. So we have a Cricut machine, we have a button maker, we have a sewing machine, we have endless craft supplies. Come between 2 to 4 p.m. on Thursday, the 14th, and create whatever you might like to do. We also have our foundation art auction going on. So right now, there are pieces in both the large display case in the library and then hung throughout our meeting room. It is a silent auction. You have the opportunity to bid until 2 p.m. on Saturday, March 16th. And then whoever is the highest bidder will win. Our Solon Public Library Foundation is putting on this 3rd annual auction. This year, the proceeds are going towards a fund to help us replace our dividing wall in the meeting room. That wall is no longer effective. It is not soundproof. Once we have that replaced, it'll make that space a lot more flexible and usable by multiple groups at the same time, whereas right now only one group can use it at a time. And we will be closed on Friday, the 22nd for our staff in service. And I think that is everything, unless anyone has any questions. Lots of fun stuff. Very cool.
Thank you. City engineer report, Dave?
Yes, good evening. First off, I was gonna compliment you on your explanation of the SRF loan and the water tank situation. You guys have been paying attention, so what I've been saying is sinking in. On the wastewater plant, I wanted to just give a quick update on what we've been working on. We had a meeting yesterday looking at the site and trying to figure out if there's an opportunity to maybe expand that a little bit outside the floodplain, move the floodplain line to try to fit some additional facilities in there. That was a request that was made to see if we could do that. That'll take a little bit of modeling, HEC-RAS modeling, to see if we can adjust that floodplain line without having an impact on anybody upstream. So going to try to quantify what that effort would be and cost, and see if we want to pursue that. The second thing I have is we did discuss several facilities we want to go take a look at and coordinate that with the equipment vendors that have equipment in those locations. Scott, Dave, Kimmy, and Emily and I will probably hit the road later this month. We're looking at the last 2 weeks of March to do those tours. So hopefully we'll have a much better idea of what works and doesn't work very well for those types of facilities from the operators after we get done with those tours. The other thing I have to report on is with respect to Trail Ridge, part 2, the contractor is getting ready to start with utility installation on that. So they are moving equipment in to move forward with that. We're going through our final checks to make sure they had everything on phase 1 completed before we turn them loose, but that'll be starting here shortly.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Kevin? All right, that takes us down to old business, ordinance number 482, the 3rd and final reading on the zoning or setting the zoning classification of the newly annexed parcel owned by Raymond Griesel and related to the proposed Fox Group development. Any discussion?
I'll move to approve ordinance 482, 3rd and final reading.
I'll second.
All right. Duncan,
Yes.
Farland,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Kramer? Yes. Whitehead.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to new business, resolution number 24-12, resolution to fix a date for a public hearing on proposal to enter into a sewer revenue loan and disbursement agreement and to borrow money thereunder in a principal amount not to exceed $3 million. Is there any discussion other than just setting the date that we have on here? This is fixing a date, March 20th, 2024, the public hearing.
I'll move to approve resolution number 24-12.
I'll second. All right. Duncan,
Yes.
Farland?
Yes.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Kramer? Yes. Whitehead?
Yes.
Take us down to other business, so council committees. Any updates?
I don't think there are really, not as far as ones that I'm on.
Streets Committee, I will be sending out an email just outlining curb and gutter project, for this year. And, those of you on the Street Committee, and I know it just changed, and I can't
I think it's me and
remember.
Kramer.
Okay, yeah, you'll be seeing an email from me shortly.
And I know personnel, we are in the process of reviewing candidates for the financial
A couple more, and it sounds like will be essential.
Good, great.
And then for the police, for me as well, we'll be connecting once we probably get past the interviews for personnel. Catch up on that too, but we'll continue to move forward with that. Suze? All right. Tammy is out. She has a busy day, so she's gonna try to jump on. I told her to pass, given how busy yesterday will be as well. Council comments?
One thing I'd like to say is congratulations to the Solon girls basketball team on their season. It's a fun game to watch.
That was commented on today up at Capitol. Mayor comments, I don't have anything other than, Susie, thank you, and Tammy also for holding down the fort while we find Jones back, so.
Move to adjourn.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Hi,
Bye, Don.
Done.
see you guys,
20 minutes.
couple weeks.
How can I help?
Well, that one is.
Great, okay. No.